Hey yo, what's good, y'all? It's that boy, Easy Millions, and I'm your host of That Boy ETV. You already know, man, we are back on FragPunk, and I'm not gonna lie to y'all, man. You know, I never really thought that I would probably swap off of Pathogen too much as, you know, new characters are being added because, you know, being able to heal in this game is so important. But I'm not gonna lie, man, Counterfeit is fun as hell, man. And in Shard class, just like I suspected, she's even more powerful than I would say in something like TDM. Even though in TDM it's ridiculous the amount of kills you're able to get by people, you know, by tricking people off with your clone. So, but it's crazy. But let's kind of get into a little bit about Counterfeit and Shard class and see if you guys kind of agree with me, and we can kind of get down to the nitty gritty of, is she OP or not, right? So the first thing we're going to talk about is she does have the 3 clones, right? Now, having 3 clones, while I was playing with her, I feel like having 3 clones might be a little much. Like, I think maybe they might want to drop it down to 2. And the reason why I say this is just because I feel like with 3 clones, you have more, like that first clone, you can kind of just throw it out there, you know what I'm saying? And then you're like, cool, I still got 2 more of these left, you know what I mean? So it kind of gives you a throwaway clone when you have 3. I feel like if she only had 2, then you would have to be a lot more strategic with using it. But then also too, I think another reason why there's 3 is because they want you to have enough to kind of do the clone and use the your other ability that turns her intangible. This way you can have 2 clones out and then go intangible and then still have 1 left. So I'm assuming that's the logic behind the 3. But how often do we actually see a Counterfeit throw out 2 clones back to back and then go intangible in order to push and attack the enemy, right? I haven't actually seen that. I haven't actually done that yet. Usually if I do that, I only send out 1 clone and then I go. This way I hold on to them. So, but I think that's the logic behind it. But maybe, just maybe, they might want to lower the amount of clones she has. But again, 3, is it too much? Me personally, I like her the way she is. I don't think that they need to change it, but I could understand if they dropped it down to 2. But again, I think the main logic for the 3 is so that you can at least throw out 2 clones and go intangible at least once during the match and then still have a clone behind you, instead of, hey, am I going to use both clones and then the intangible and call it a day? So I think that's more or less what that's for, right? Now, the other thing about her that is amazing in Shard class is, man, she gives amazing info for herself and her teams. You know, after talking to my boy Rena and understanding how important, you know, information is in the game, just being able to tell your teammates where enemies are, you know, things of that nature, being able to get enemies to expose themselves without you having to put yourself at risk, similar to like Dex. But again, even with Dex, I think you lose some health with his clone. Unlike Counterfeit, where her clone gets thrown out, she doesn't take any damage once you shoot it at all, and it just gives you I know for her, you can literally see people through the walls if they shoot at these clones, right? Now, I don't think that the teammates can. I can't remember if a teammate can or not, but regardless if a teammate can or not, as long as that Counterfeit sees them and then marks them, pings them, comes onto the mic, communicates, however you want to put it, that information is going to be extremely valuable to the team. Also, her ability to check basically around corners with her clones, check down hallways. Think about on Black Market, that the mid route. You know, a lot of times, even when I was playing, even this gameplay, you've probably seen it. I just threw it down there. You know what I'm saying? I threw it down there at one point during the gameplay. I threw it down there. It exposed the person on the left, and it caused the one person to come down the bridge because he heard a gunfight. You know what I'm saying? So again, it also, not only does it give great information to you and, you know, to the team as a whole, but then it also even brings people out of their spots, because normally that guy up the bridge probably wouldn't have came down if he didn't hear the gunfight going on. And since I threw the clone out there, he's thinking that the person's fighting a real person. Now he comes down, I hear him walking, so now I know to look for him. Boom, I'm able to get the kills. So again, you know, just the amount of information that she's able to provide the team is ridiculous, and on a whole nother level, man. Whole nother level. But There is a downside to counterfeit, in my opinion, too, though. So it isn't all just, rainbows and butterflies over here. There is a downside to her. And the one downside to her is I think she does kind of suffer on defense, in my opinion. And the reason for this, on certain maps like that of a Ket, if you play a Ket and you're on defense and you're defending, I believe it's B, the one where you're in that room where you can close the door and then it has that little water shoot thing that you go into the water and shoot you out the water and you can come in. I hope y'all know what point I'm talking about. But on certain maps on defense, you can't really take full advantage of your clones because of like the angles in which the other team approaches your defensive position and just also the way that you're sitting. Like, again, if you go to the other side of a Ket, which is A, which is the open side that has like the big wide entrance to the left, where it's like you go back there. Like if you start off, it has where I'm horrible at describing this, but point A, there's one side over there where you can actually shoot your clones down the walkway and see if they come. But if you're on B, there is no way for you to kind of shoot your clones out without being exposed yourself, if you get what I'm saying. But ultimately, depending on the map you're on, if you're playing defense, you want to go defend a certain position because you want to be able to take advantage of your clones. Depending on what defensive position you're on, you won't be able to fully do that because of the fact of how the position is centered and how you must position yourself in order to even shoot the clones. Because like I said, on a Ket side B, where you actually close the door, since you can't walk past the door, if you stand there long enough, the enemy team can actually basically see you as you're throwing the clone out. So it's one of those things where it's like, hey, depending on defense and what map you're on, if you're going to continue to play her like I did, you just want to primarily go to a certain point. This way you can make sure to continue to take full advantage of your clones and don't limit yourself like in a small area. Like if you're in a small room, you're not going to get as much value out of your clones as you would if you have long hallways, long corridors, things like that, man. So, but ultimately, do I think she's overpowered? I don't think she's overpowered. I do think one thing I did notice is if you do play against a counterfeit, you do actually have to use your brain, because one thing I noticed was when I first started playing, pretty much everyone was shooting at the clone, right? Everyone was shooting at it. In my head, I was like, man, one of these times I could just actually run out there and just run into the wall and act like I'm a clone, but I don't know. And then I finally started seeing smarter players who would just look at the clone and watch it run by. So I'm assuming what they're doing is looking at the clone, waiting to see if it turns to shoot, and then not shooting at it to give away their position. So you got to be careful. But sometimes if you are good enough and if you are able to call out what this person's about to do, you could actually run out there yourself, and all you got to do is like run out there straight. Don't look nowhere. Just run straight, run into the wall, and keep running into the wall like you're a clone. And that person might not even shoot at you, bruh. But this is extremely risky, okay? Extremely risky because you don't know if that person is going to shoot you on sight or not. So just be safe. But if she OP, I don't believe she is. I think that, again, it's just causing players to have to really think before they act and before they shoot at what, someone coming around a corner. You actually have to think and have trigger discipline when counterfeit is in the match, man. So I don't think she's OP, but let me know how y'all feel about that down in them comments, man. Now, one last thing I want to talk about before I get up out of here is this. Hey, just because we're playing Shard class and just because you as an individual are 1-6, but everyone else on the team is, pretty much positive or breaking even, and we're winning the game, why are we initiating a surrender? Why is it that we initiate surrenders? Because us individually are having a bad game. Why don't you just sit here and get carried? Why don't you just sit here and be happy that you're about to get the dub? Now you want to initiate a surrender, and then when we decline it because the score is 2-1 and we're up, now you want to be mad and you're not going to play. Like, I don't understand this. Just because you're having a bad game, we're still winning. Why are we initiating a surrender? Why does everyone else need to suffer like you? I know misery loves company, so that's probably what this is all about. But look, man, it ain't your game. It ain't your day. Just sit there, hop in our backpack, and be happy, man. Be happy you about to get the dub. That's all I'm asking. That's all I'm saying. I don't see why we need to initiate a surrender just because one person on the team happens to be playing badly. I mean, hey, it happens to us all, man. We all have bad games. Even top players have bad games. Why are we allergic to having bad games nowadays? Like, if you have a bad game, you gotta, I gotta get out. Come on, man. You know what I'm saying? Let's be real. But let me know, man, do y'all think that counterfeit is overpowered? And do you agree or disagree with the things I brought up about her? And also, do y'all also see all these trash bags initiating surrenders simply because they themselves are having bad games, man? Let me know down in them comments, and let's get a conversation started, man. But until then, I'm going to leave y'all off with the rest of this gameplay here in the background, and I hope y'all enjoy that, man. But as always, please like, comment, subscribe, follow, share, become a supporter, and catch me streaming on Facebook Gaming and Twitch at ThatBoyETV. Man, catch you on the next one. I'm out. Peace.